General, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and thank you for this opportunity. For those that don't know me, and there are lots of familiar faces, Mark Collins. I've been responsible for delivery of Veterans Gateway since the consortium won the bid in December 16, and for the last 3 years this has been my focus. What I'm going to do is canter through this, conscious that I'm between you and your next round of caffeine. And I will be here obviously for the questions and over lunch. There are some people I really do want to connect with, and I'll explain why as we go through the presentation. These are the areas we'll cover. This theme seems to, very quickly, the reason why we have a Veterans Gateway. So in 2016, the Armed Forces Covenant Trust went out to the market, which is unusual, saying, based on the Ashcroft report, there is a need to simplify the way for people to find their way into the vast options and choices they have to gain response to support to either themselves as a veteran or to their family members. And that might not be their first generation family members. We are finding an awful lot of second and third generation now ringing up and asking for advice about how they can help grandma or granddad who served. Because over the last 4 or 5 years, with the vast publicity and the work that's been done by many people across many parts of the UK, none more than in London with the national events, people are aware that grandma and granddad, uncle and auntie do need support. They've never served. Where do they go? That's where we aim to help. The theme that I've listened to all morning is collaboration. And Veterans Gateway would not exist without collaboration at a number of levels. At the top level, we've got 4 of the large charities. We've got the Royal British Legion, we've got SAFA, we've got Combat Stress and Poppy Scotland that form the consortium members. But in addition to them, who sit at the steering group, we have Chief Defence Personnel, General Nuji sat on that committee. We have Sir John from COBSIO. I also have a veteran, a double amputee, Luke Sinnott, who some of you may know is a Paralympian and world-class athlete, and he has many connections into many other areas as well. For me, one of the key things for him, he runs a veterans reference group that hold me to account 3 to 4 times a year. We come together and they tell me what is working well within Veterans Gateway, what isn't, and where we have gaps. Now, if I do get a battering from them, which is fine, because if I don't deliver what they as veterans want, then actually what is the point? Collaborative working, this was a quote, I'm sure you've already read it now, that's from Charles Byrne, one of the board members. He's also Director General for the Royal British Legion, and also one of the co-funders now for Veterans Gateway as we go forward. The next level down, this is a slide that identifies some, not all, of the supporters that we have for the Veterans Gateway. We have a number of levels. At the top level, we have what are called referral partners. These are organisations that have signed an agreement with us, it's not a contract, to work with us so that we can refer to them directly from the contact centre, which is based down in Wales, more of that in a moment. And they will, wherever possible, make contact with that individual within 2 working days. The Veterans Gateway does not case manage. It provides information and advice, listens to the presenting need, and gives the individual choices of how they can move forward if they choose to come to the Veterans Gateway in the first place by that telephone link. So the services we offer through Veterans Gateway. It's 24/7, it's 365 days a year, and that is a manned service throughout all of that time. I'm in a fortunate position now, I can hand on heart say I have all of the armed forces represented. I have Army, Navy, Air Force and Royal Marine veterans as part of that delivery team who work out of Connect Assist, our service provider based down in Wales. We've already heard the piece around people understanding what people go through and how they speak. The guys and girls are very, very good at listening and talking and having a banter and building a rapport as quickly as they can with the individual that calls in. We also have access via other channels. We have a website We also have social media. Social media was added to the bid. It was something that hadn't been done from the 4 consortium partners before, and we're finding more and more people now are using social media, the private messaging, private tweets, to make contact with the team as their start point. That means we have to manage that community. That means we have to respond to it, because if you don't, there is no value in social media. So there is a responsibility there for a two-way interaction. We have live chat. Again, many individuals want to build a level of trust before they'll engage. Quite often they'll present with, my mate needs some help with. By the end of the conversation, it's not their mate, it's actually them. But that is the reality of how people want to interact with Veterans Gateway. We have a local support tool. This is our mini Google, which again I will come on to, but I'm really keen that we have more and more Covenant officers engaging with the team that we work with from Northumbria University to put local and regional contacts on there so individuals can find what they want themselves through the self-help. Working with the COBSIO Housing Cluster, 3 years ago, about the same time, there was the Veterans Housing Advice Service was set up. Since then, we've worked closely with them and merged the housing piece into Veterans Gateway. That allows us to have a housing advisor based down in the Connect Assist team who will work with COBSIO and local authorities across the 4 home nations to identify how individuals can source help locally to them. We also have a housing dashboard. This is where particularly the COBSIO members can list their voids with a link straight through to their application form to book for them. So it might be a 4-bedroomed house in Portsmouth, eligibility, if it's from whichever COBSIO member. If it's Portsmouth, more likely to be the Navy. Closing date for that, and then the link through. So they can make their application from one page straight in. So the service itself, based in Wales, it's a not-for-profit service provider, Connect Assist. We have made some adjustments to the website, which went live last September, again, predominantly based on the feedback from the veterans. We've always been about being brand agnostic and the first point of contact, not a single point, first point of contact for individuals looking for support because they don't know where to start. One of the challenges to me from the beginning of this was to explain to the sector and more widely, we are here to complement the sector. If you know you need to go to SAFA, or someone knows that you should talk to Combat Stress, or whichever other charity are specialists in their space, absolutely fantastic. That is not the audience we are there to directly support. We will support anyone, but we are looking for those that don't know where to start their journey of finding support. That is key. Over the last 3 years, 2017, I went to the COBSIO AGM, quite a challenging discussion. Since then, more and more individuals understand what Veterans Gateway is and equally what it isn't. It's complementing the sector, it is not competing in the sector. We also offer a service which we're trialling at the moment, so out of hours. So we've got about 6 organisations working with us at the moment. When they are not working, whatever their core hours are, be they 5 days a week, 3 days a week, they will transfer the telephone number through to us. We have smart telephony whereby we will pick up answering as, whichever that organisation is, and we will take the referral information at the top line, i.e. personal details, presenting need and consent to share that with the organisation. We're coming to the end of the first year of trial of that. It's very interesting that even some of the small organisations we work for with in that space are actually getting referrals outside their core hours. People like their statistics, so I'm going to dive into some and then I'm going to focus a little bit more into the London areas for comparator. So we do a dashboard every month for the board that is shared with partners in the sector. So since we went live in April 2017, we've had about 42,500 direct contacts into the contact centre. For a new service, we're very proud of that and finding our way. This is in addition to all those individuals that find their way to the organisation they want to go to. We'll see that in blue it's calls, the live chat, the ask a question is in red and then the web chat is in green. So there is a difference, but most people are still coming to the Veterans Gateway through the traditional telephone. Some of that is down to demographic, some of that is that actually they may well have looked at the websites already and then feel more comfortable now, having done some research, they will then talk to an advisor because they've got some more knowledge themselves. They will have looked on the website. We're about being tight with the guides. We're not looking to turn it into Encyclopedia Britannica. We're going through a website content review at the moment, and we will strip out content that is either out of date, has low usage, is that because it's niche or is because it doesn't have a value, and then we will look to see where else we need to identify guides to be developed. Again, we work very closely with the partners. NHS England put a lot of content onto the website around their till service and the other services that are coming. They are the lead NHS for the 4 home nations, so they will then cascade that out for us to the other NHS services in Wales, Northern Ireland and Scotland. This is very much about trying to build a footprint that supports veterans and their families across the 4 home nations. Equally, from overseas, if individuals want support for their family members or themselves coming back to the UK, or their family members live in the UK, they can access the information on there. This isn't about building a set of guides to support those expats that are overseas. That is just beyond the focus of where we want to be. The blue shows the web sessions and the red shows the web pages. Again, we're very proud of this. Over 700,000 web sessions. These aren't unique users. These are web sessions. I can probably account for 50 or 60 of those because I do look at it regularly to make sure that it's relevant. I'm a veteran. I've got a reputation, personal and professional, to support the community that supported me during my service time and my family. Just over 1.7 million pages have been read. So we work very closely with our supporters to make sure the information on there, which they own because we hyperlink through to it, and their broader websites, remains current and up to date. So when we look at the guides at the top level, just focusing in on the previous slide, that's the breakdown. News and partner pages. So we provide information as we get it. Latest 2 that have been well read, well looked at is the Veterans ID card and the rail card in England. Lots of emotion around that because it's England only. So now we've gone back to the MOD and they're talking to the Department of Transport to say, this is a start, this is really positive, but when are we going to see this in Wales, Northern Ireland and Scotland? So they appreciate the feedback we're giving them from our social media interaction with the community. We provide it, we're agnostic, it is providing information back for them to do with as they want. We will not judge, it's not our responsibility, and it's certainly not our position to be anything other than complementing the sector. We certainly aren't regulating or would take that role. COBSEO are absolutely the centre, and I work very closely with Ian Cors and the team at COBSEO. So if we take this to the next level, so we have 7 categories within Veterans Gateway. That's including London. If we just strip that down to just London, very, very similar in terms of that. Employment, families change slightly, but basically they are very similar in the breakdown. To turn that into numbers for you, again, these slides are available, so don't worry about scribbling. They will be left. So information other, which again we see about sort of is the third category in there. That is people ringing up. It might be around the defence discount card. It might be wanting to find out more information about local organisations that we don't list, but through the local support tool we can assist them with, and I'll come back to that. One of the other strengths of Veterans Gateway in my eyes is that on the web pages we will normally include between 3 and 4 hyperlinks through to organisations that work within that sector. They might be supporters of us, might be NHS, it might be more broad. For example, if people want help around bereavement support, it might be through to Cruise. Crisis, it might be through to Samaritans. What we're finding is in the last 12 months, these figures show that we've had about just over nearly 18,500 have clicked out of the Veterans Gateway website to another organisation. The peak one there is the Forces Pension Society. They're very niche, they are non-establishment, and that's where the veteran community want to go for advice around their pensions, that given the fact there's 3 pension schemes out there, and the way that many people have a link into all of those, and it's the complication of understanding their pensions. Royal British Legion is in there as well, SAFA, Combat Stress. MOD Veterans UK, absolutely the place that people should go to if they've got queries around their current pension payments, changing of bank details. We've even had, I think I can recall, 2 white mail letters into the contact centre. One of them is a 93-year-old Navy widow in America wanted to let them know her husband had passed away, a retired admiral, because she didn't want to take the money that she didn't deserve anymore, in her words, so she didn't know where to go. So somehow, living in America as an expat, she found Veterans Gateway and sent us a letter. So if we drive that down again into London, again, FPS, Forces Pension Society, still remains up there as the top. Again, the correlations are very, very simple across. Stoll have already been mentioned as one of the providers in London, and we work with many of the other Cobbossea Housing Cluster members across London and the UK. So Hague Housing is another good one in there, Elaborate, and there are smaller Cobbossea Housing Cluster members as well. So again, we provide a directory link into that directory so individuals can find what they want. We've talked about social media. We've had over 100,000 interactions in social media. It really is something that you need to consider very carefully if you want to get into that, because it does need managing, and there are protocols in how to do it. I'm very lucky. I work most of my time on Veterans Gateway, but I am a Legion employee. We use the policies and practices already set up, and we follow those as far as delivery of Veterans Gateway. So I benefit from the knowledge and experience beyond the core team, of which there are 4 paid members of the Veterans Gateway team who look after the content, the co-ord, and 2 into the marketing. From a marketing perspective, we rely on our supporters to cascade the information that is generated by the 2 marketing team. If there's events going on that you want us to publicise through Veterans Gateway, please, we're more than happy to support in any way we can. If it benefits the veteran community, we're interested. So the local support tool, I spoke about this is our mini Google. So we are working with Northumbria University, Dr. Matt Kiernan and his team. What you can see at the bottom there is the ability to search by location or by category or by an organisation to find where they are. That, thankfully, is owned by Northumbria University. They will provide the information that goes on there that individuals can search for. Now that may well be by an individual himself, by an organisation, it might be by Covenant officers. The ability to drop that link into your Covenant web pages is absolutely there. We can provide that. We can provide the link into Veterans Gateway if you drop onto your Covenant pages, if it will help you. You just have to ask us. We'll provide all of the collateral through what's called the digital toolkit. You have an email, you have a password, you have full access to all of that information. It can help Covenant officers that are probably dual, triple or even quadruple hatted to actually keep the information on your websites fresh. We are finding some are really, really proactive, and it drives more people to your Covenant pages. What I'm interested in is driving them to your Covenant pages, not at the greatest respect your local authority top level, because that hasn't actually helped the veteran find what they want in the veteran space. Following on from the local support tool, again, Matt Kiernan and his team have worked with the MOD, and they're providing an app that will go live in about 4 to 6 weeks. This will provide access to the local support tool. It is going to be branded Veterans Gateway. What it does do is 2 things. One, it allows you to have it on your website, on your mobile or your tablet, and we're finding more and more people are using those as the ways of accessing the digital feeds. Desktops are not the focus. So again, if you develop stuff, make sure you consider more than just a desktop, because most people won't use that as the way into your information. This has 2 functions for me. One, it allows you to look locally, regionally or nationally for what you want. So again, there is an ask here. If you work with trusted partners in your London borough and you want them listed on this app, talk to me. We'll give you the details for Claudia, who works up at Northumbria University. She'll be delighted to give you, as Covenant officers, trusted access to their Alfredo platform that allows you to put local information on there that might be around organisations that have a military link, or they might be your local authority links as well. We absolutely want them. All of the GP surgeries are listed on here. And many of the secondary national health outlets. A piece of work that Matt and his team are doing at the moment is trialling a desktop icon with Durham NHS Trust that will go onto all GP desktops, is the aspiration, so that if someone presents as a veteran, it gives the GP access to the local support tool so they can find local, regional or national access to organisations that can support. So if you aren't GP accredited practice, you still can get access to that information. This is a slide that sums up for me what the team do. They listen, they support, they give choice to the individual about how they are going to assist them in their journey to wherever they want to go for themselves or for their family members. Thank you. And we'll take those later, I believe. Thanks very much.